Issues such as unemployment, the high cost of Turkey's newly built presidential palace, locals' dissatisfaction with public services and problems caused by Syrian refugees may well deal a blow to the ruling party's hopes in the upcoming general election in Şanlıurfa and Gaziantep, two southeastern provinces which previously strongly voted for it. The ruling Justice and Development Party, AK Party, may well lose many of its deputies in its strongholds in southeastern Turkey, particularly if the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, manages to pass the parliamentary threshold. However, it is the issue of the large number of Syrian refugees fleeing the civil war in their homeland who have sought refuge in Turkey that is the main agenda item for the majority of locals in both Şanlıurfa and Gaziantep. The provinces, which border Syria, together host nearly half of the roughly 2 million Syrian refugees in Turkey. The number of Syrians living both in and outside refugee camps in Şanlıurfa is estimated to be around 450,000, while the figure for Gaziantep is believed to be nearly 400,000, including those who are not officially registered with the Turkish authorities. Given that both provinces have local populations of about around 1.9 million, Syrians now represent nearly a fifth of those living in the two provinces. The ruling party currently has 10 of the total 12 deputies who represent Şanlıurfa and 8 deputies in Gaziantep, which is also represented by 12 deputies in parliament. The HDP currently has 2 deputies in Şanlıurfa and none in Gaziantep. The main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, meanwhile, has 2 deputies in Gaziantep and none in Şanlıurfa, while the Nationalist Movement Party, MHP, has 1 deputy in Gaziantep and none in Şanlıurfa. This picture is almost certain to change in the June 7 parliamentary election, although the AK party is still expected to be the leading party in both provinces. In Şanlıurfa, where religious and tribal ties play a major role in politics, the number of AK party deputies may fall to 5 or 6, while the CHP and MHP are expected to get 1 deputy each. The HDP, whose mayoral candidate obtained 31% of the vote in last year's local elections, it is expected to obtain 4 deputies, as long as it succeeds in passing the 10% election threshold. The pro-Kurdish party is for the first time taking part in the elections as a party rather than with independent candidates, and for this reason needs to pass a 10% election threshold to gain representation in parliament. In Gaziantep, another AK party stronghold, the ruling party may well see its number of deputies drop down to 6 or even 5 if the opposition parties can get their messages to voters, many of whom are tired of 12 years of AK party rule. Similarly to Şanlıurfa, in Gaziantep a party needs to obtain around 60,000 votes to get a deputy. The main opposition CHP, which obtained nearly 200,000 votes in the local elections in the province, is estimated to get 3 deputies because its economic promises during the election campaign are thought to be attracting new voters to the party. According to Mehmet Seker, a CHP deputy who is running as the leading candidate on the CHP ticket in Gaziantep, the party may even get as many as 4 deputies. There were thousands of women with headscarves at a recent CHP meeting, he told today's Zaman in Gaziantep. Because the party strongly promoted secularism until recent years, religious Turkish citizens often have misgivings about the CHP's attitude toward religion, but Seker's comments indicate that in Gaziantep at least, the party is supported by a portion of the religious voters in the province. The AKP, another term for the AK party, will be the loser in Gaziantep, Seker added. As to the pro-Kurdish HDP, it will easily obtain 1 deputy if it manages to pass the threshold, and it recently held a very well-attended election rally in the city. It was the biggest rally in the history of Gaziantep, some 60,000 people attended, Celal Doğan, the party's leading candidate in the province, told today's Zaman in his election campaign office in the city. The party may even obtain 2 deputies, but Doğan, who is of Turkish ethnic origin, prefers to be realistic. We have enough voters for 1.5 deputies at the moment, he said, noting that some religious Kurdish voters in the province who are tired of the rule of the AK party will also vote for the HDP this time. Although the AK party's mayoral candidate obtained 54% of the vote in the local election last year and was elected the city's mayor, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's rally in the city in early March 2015 was not as impressive as those of rival parties. That may be taken as an indication of decreasing support for the AK party in the province. According to Muhyiddin Tatuan, the provincial head of the MHP in Gaziantep, his party will easily obtain 2 deputies and will even push for a third. We have now a strong wind behind us. God willing, it will turn into a storm on the election day, he told today's Zaman. He added that the MHP will organize the city's largest rally when party leader Devlet Bahçeli arrives in Gaziantep on June 3. All with whom I had a chance to have a chat during my visit to the 2 cities in the past week complained about the large numbers of Syrian refugees. Most people do not want them to be driven out of Turkey but would prefer them to be hosted in camps, rather than letting the Syrians live in cities. People are concerned about their security because Syrians are sometimes involved in fights, and theft and prostitution are said to have increased considerably since their arrival. Police have been accused of turning a blind eye to crimes committed by Syrians or, due to government pressure, tending to put the blame on a Turkish citizen whenever a local is involved in a dispute with a Syrian. It is also a common sight to see Syrians begging for food on streets. Locals also claim that they are losing their jobs because Syrian refugees who are officially referred to as guests because they have not been granted refugee status accept work for much lower wages. That issue is even more contentious in Şanlıurfa province, which lacks the sizable industrial sector in Gaziantep. CK, who is in his early 30s, works as a receptionist in a hotel in the city of Şanlıurfa. I voted for the ruling AKP for years. But I will vote for the CHP because they said they would send the Syrians back to Syria, he told today's Zaman. CHP leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu has said several times in the past few months that his party would pave the way for Syrians to return to their country by making efforts to end the civil war in Syria. Noting that many people he knows feel the same, CK added, many local people cannot find jobs because of Syrians. Local shop owners are also angry toward the ruling party because it allowed Syrians to open shops without having to pay taxes, which means unfair competition for the locals. CK, accusing the AK party of making local people second-class citizens while giving priority to Syrians, maintained that Syrians are given almost total immunity by the police when they are involved in a problem. In both provinces, unemployment is a major problem, standing at more than 10% in Gaziantep and much higher in Şanlıurfa. Due to the recent economic crisis, more than 20,000 workers lost their jobs in Gaziantep in the first quarter of this year. M, a worker in his 60s with no social security, voted for the AK party in the past but will vote for the HDP in this election. Syrians should be taken out of Şanlıurfa, he told today's Zaman, describing them as a nuisance for local people. There used to be peace in Şanlıurfa. Syrians are 80% responsible for the disruption of the peace, he added, putting the blame on President Erdogan for the vast migration of Syrians into Turkey. According to M, the main reasons people are turning their backs on the ruling party are as follows: during the rule of the AK party, the rich have gotten richer, while the poor have remained poor. Syrian refugees, the authoritarianism of Erdogan and the AK party government, and lavish spending on the newly built presidential palace. He should first provide enough food for his own people, then for Syrians, M added. Many locals in both provinces are not satisfied with the services provided by the metropolitan municipalities, both of which are governed by the ruling party. The deputy candidates on the ruling party's ticket in both provinces are not well known in the provinces, which could be another handicap for the ruling party. The CHP has Ali Murat Bukak, a figure from a well-known local family, in first place on its Şanlıurfa list. The AKP might still emerge as the leading party in the elections here, but people are angry about the choice of deputy candidates, Bukak told today's Zaman in Şanlıurfa. According to Bukak, the CHP might even get 3 deputies in Şanlıurfa if the HDP fail to pass the election threshold. However, he is concerned that the ruling party might pay the leaders of some local tribes in return for votes in the last week ahead of the elections to try to get more than the expected number of deputies in Şanlıurfa.